My name is Adedoyin Rhodes-Vivour. I'm a Nigerian and a lawyer by profession. I'm a senior advocate of Nigeria, Notary Public of Nigeria, and a chartered arbitrator. Well, for me, what was my inspiration to becoming a lawyer? I come from a legal family. My father was a lawyer, and in those days, you know, coming from a legal profession, most children from legal profession, from families that are legal, are motivated to also study law. And I was motivated to study law, aside from the fact that I was an art student. And when you're an art student in those days and you want to study a professional course, law is the next thing you think about. So really, that was my motivation. There was no doubt about it. I was going to study law in university. But then what was my motivation? Inspiration to becoming a SAN. I think that was providence. Because when I left school, it never occurred to me that I should strive to be a SAN. I just knew I wanted to work hard. I wanted to be excellent, perfect in whatever I do. But I didn't want to work in the Ministry of Justice. It was fashionable then, in the 80s, the early mid-80s. I graduated in 1980 from the University of Lagos, went to law school, was qualified in 81. I think I wanted to work in the banking sector. But as Providence would have it, I didn't get the kind of job I would have wanted in the banking sector. And there was an opening in the Ministry of Justice, and I went there. And that started my journey to becoming a SAN. In the ministry, I had the opportunity of being exposed to advocacy very early. I worked in the Directorate of Public Prosecutions. I worked in the Directorate of Civil Litigation. And then I also worked in the Directorate of Commercial Law. So I had a very well-rounded experience. Aside from that, I was also exposed to courses. I mean, I don't think my colleagues in the private sector had the kind of exposure I had then. That was a time when there was a lot of support given to African countries to develop their capacity. There were trainings by the United Nations Center for Transnational Corporations. I went on some of those trainings. I learned about the rudiments of arbitration. I learned about the advantages of it. Aside from the exposure I was getting to litigation and developing my advocacy skills. So that was really it. It was providence. And then becoming a SAN, my career path, even before I realized that I wanted to apply to become a SAN, I already had most of the requirements on my CV. I was going to court. I was building up myself. I was serving in the legal profession. I was making an impact in the legal profession. I was part of the section on business law, Nigerian Bar Association. I was the first chairman of the arbitration and ADR committee. I was serving. I was mentoring the younger ones. And I was really getting myself prepared to become a SAN, which I didn't even really realize until much later. I mean, life is full of challenges. I wouldn't say it came easy because nothing good ever comes easy. I had to work hard. What I had to my advantage is that I've always been a very focused type of person. If I may say so myself, I'm very hardworking. I'm very motivated. I go for what I want to go for. I mean, every year, for instance, up till now, I write in my diary the things I want to achieve in every given year. And at the end of that year, I tick off. And whatever I haven't ticked off, I carry over to the next year. So I was focused, I was determined, I was motivated. I wanted to excel. Excellence is key for me. Whatever I do, I want to do it well. And that was a very, very strong, it was a very strong and added plus for me in my journey to becoming a SAN. What were the challenges I faced? Whenever I get asked this question, it's always difficult for me to really think back and say, I had this challenge, I had that challenge. Because to me, challenges are part of life. There's a Nigerian saying that says that it's only a dead man that has no problems. So if you meet with challenges along the way, you just have to deal with it. And there are many strategies for dealing with challenges, depending on the type of challenge. It can be a professional challenge. For instance, I remember when I was in King's College London, I was doing a master's in international peace and security, courtesy of being conferred with a Shipman Scholarship, which is a very prestigious scholarship by the British Council, and is awarded to persons that are selected on the basis of their leadership skills, people that they think will make a difference, should they have the opportunity and then come back to their own home country. And I remember I had an assignment to pass in to submit, and I practically finished my assignment. And I don't really know what I touched on the computer system, and everything was gone. And my assignment had to be submitted within the next couple of hours. I could easily have moaned and given up, but I didn't. I stayed up all night. I finished my assignment and I submitted it. That's one type of challenge. There are also challenges you meet in the workplace. When you meet people who, for some reason or the other, will be implicit bias. At times, implicit, that's bias that they are not even aware of, or even explicit bias. They are aware of it and they don't really care. And they'll do anything to try and make you miserable, either in your workplace, in your professional life, or they don't see why women should advance. They don't see why this one should be the one who's in this leadership role. I ignore such things and I focus on what I have to do. I tend not to allow such distractions deviate from the task ahead of me. I make sure I accomplish my task, but I deal with the situations. And you can deal with situations in different ways. There's sometimes you have to call the person to order. There's sometimes you have to make a report to somebody else. But the issue is to focus on the task ahead and make sure you get your task done. So that's what I would advise younger people to. Don't get distracted. Don't lose your focus. Focus on what you have to do. And that's what has stood me in good stead all these years in my legal career and in my profession. What are the kind of advice I'll give to people who are coming behind me, the younger ones? For one, I like to mentor the younger ones. And there are a number of things I tell them. For instance, it might seem so simple, but it's worked for me. I always say, whatever you are doing, always make sure you improve yourself every year. And that's how I've been able to build up a CV that speaks for me, that says who I am. Even without meeting me, you know what I've accomplished. I believe in learning, and I make sure that I improve myself professionally at every given opportunity I have. Knowledge is power. And that's the way you can empower yourself and make yourself ready for any challenges that may be ahead of you. That's just it. So for me, the call for action is continuous, persistent hard work. Focus. Don't be distracted or discouraged. And always make sure your CV speaks for you. In Nigeria, we have over 600 senior advocates of Nigeria. And I don't believe we have up to 10%. In fact, I'm sure we don't have up to 10% that are women. Maybe more like 4-point-something%. When I was being conferred with the title in 2019, there were only 2 women out of 38 men. I think this last year, there were 72 senior advocates of Nigeria, and there were 4 women. Those figures are poor. They don't speak for itself. Because I think worldwide now, we are beginning to even appreciate more the importance of diversity and inclusion. Diversity confers legitimacy on so many things, and the SAN rank should be taken as one of those areas where there's still much to be done. Now, I'm not talking about awarding SAN to a woman because she's a woman. I'm not talking about awarding SAN to a woman because she merits it. To improve the situation, certain things have to be done. I think it starts first and foremost from the women themselves. We've got to be ready to do the work. We've got to be determined. We shouldn't be discouraged. You know, we should just do what we need to do. And while doing it, enjoy the journey, because it's all about knowledge, it's about exposure. The rank denotes excellence in your field. And I know there are lots of women who are just as excellent as lots of men are. I'm also aware that many women are also now aspiring for the rank, and I tell them to keep it up. Don't be discouraged. There are many factors that militate against women. For instance, how to keep the home workplace balance. And then it requires the efforts of women to increase the numbers, but it also requires efforts of all stakeholders, policy makers, employers of labor, senior lawyers. For instance, if it's a woman who is in a firm, a partnership, she cannot apply for that rank except she's a partner. I know implicit, explicit bias arises. If you don't give women this opportunity to become a partner, there's no way she's going to be able to apply. So it beholds on all of us to do what we need to do to ensure that there's more gender balance in their world of SAN. And I repeat, not on the basis of favors. Women don't need favors. We just want to be recognized for what we do and for a conducive environment to be created for women to thrive. Women have many responsibilities. They have to take care of the children, they have to take care of the home. It's also important for husbands to be understanding. I'm very lucky, I have a very understanding husband. I have a very supportive husband. And I doubt whether I would have reached the heights I've reached if my husband was not as supportive as he has been to me all these years. He's also in the legal profession. So he understands the demands of the work we have to do. So what I like to tell the women is, keep it up. Don't be distracted. Keep on being focused, and you surely get to where you want to get to. It's been so lovely talking to you, and I hope that I've said at least something that you can take back with and work with in order to ensure that you also reach the heights of your profession.